There are two ways to make an exotic belt out of crocodile or alligator. This is one of them, and this is probably the harder. It involves splicing multiple strips of tail together in an absolutely seamless manner to make it completely invisible at the right length. It is really hard, and today I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. Hey friends, it's Will, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me. An exotic belt is probably the most exclusive belt you can have, and one of the most expensive as well. Simply because exotics are really expensive leathers. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, by the way. It helps out enormously, doesn't cost you anything, and it really does help. But back to the video. So, when you are joining exotic skins, so in this case I'm using a crocodile leather, or it might be alligator. I always get confused and someone always reminds me in the comments, so thank you for that. I think, actually thinking about it, this is alligator. But anyway, when you're joining them, you have to skive it in a very specific way. Normally you just skive straight across in a completely standard manner. If you know how to skive, you just do that. With exotics, you have to place it perfectly. You have to do it just under or just over the scale, so that when you join them together, as you're seeing here and seeing me do here, you can't actually see a join, and you have to be really careful. Don't do it before your glue is fully set, or you will have white spots coming through. So wait for your glue to fully set and then do it. But it is difficult, and it does require a lot of practice, a lot of skill, and a lot of time. And you will often cut off a significant amount of the tail, the skin, in order to get that perfect join. I'm going to be backing this particular one. I'm going to be lining this particular one with a calf skin, because one of the reasons is because this is for a specific client. He's asked for a calf skin lining to it, but I'm also doing a raising strip. This is the calf skin. It is something I actually have no idea what it is. He sent it to me because he wanted me to use it. I think it's a chrome tan, but I don't know what, so don't ask me. But it's lovely to work with. Anyway, I'm actually going to be using exactly the same leather for the lining as I am for the raising strip, and that's simply because I had enough of it. Normally I would use something like a vegetable tan leather for the lining, for the raising strip. In this case, didn't need to, because I had plenty of this calf from the strip that he sent. Some people, and rightly so, measure exactly where the middle line is, and they follow that like it's their religion. I don't do that all the time. Sometimes I do, absolutely. This time I'm doing it by feel and by eye. I'm going really slowly. I'm making sure it is exactly in the middle. What you just saw me do is skive down the edge, because if you can have two profiles. You can have a very square profile, and you can have a more rounded profile. I personally like the more rounded profile, which is why I did that. It doesn't look rounded at the moment because the rounded section is facing the top of the belt strip, and that's because that's how I do it. I attach the raising strip to the top layer of leather, which in this case is 1.2 millimeters thick. That's what he sent me. It's what I asked for. And the raising strip and the lining strip are also both 1.2 millimeters, because I know someone is going to ask me that. The glue I'm using is an EcoSar 16PIU. That is the glue I'm using. I love it. It's great. It goes off in a nice amount of time, and it sticks like it's trying to hold a building together. Why am I doing it on a fold? If you don't do the turn where the buckle is on a form, you just bend it over, you'll get really bad wrinkling and really bad creasing on the underside of the turn, which no, you can't see it. but it doesn't look nice if you could see it, and I work for what you can possibly see if you look for it. I'm using a 0.45mm thread. It's a Misi thread. You can pick it up in the link in the description box below from Leatherbox. This video is not sponsored, but those links do help out. And I'm not showing you the whole thing. This is 900 stitches. It's a very long belt. Not going to tell you how long, but it's a very long belt. You can probably work it out. I'm doing 900 stitches. It took me 4 days. No, not for full 10-hour days, but close enough. It was a lot of stitching. I enjoy it though. It's therapeutic. You might ask me, and you probably will, why do I cut the lining off after I've stitched it? And this is simply because if you cut the lining off before you stitch it, and then you pull those stitches really nice and tight, which they should be, you can see how lovely that raising strip looks, by the way. Beautiful. Really happy with how this turned out. But anyway, if you cut the lining strip off before you have stitched it, you can often create a valley between the top layer and the bottom layer, which is an absolute nightmare to paint over. I'm using a Uniter's edge paint. It's the only edge paint I use, and I had to custom mix this one because my client asked for specifically a color matched paint. Now, no, it doesn't look color matched at the moment because edge paint is not the same color wet or after sanding as it is after you glaze it, and that is because the heat of the glazing darkens it very slightly. So I did custom mix some edge paint for this, which is what I do for any client that requests color matched edge paint. I do not love this hole punch. It leaves a little tag where the join is. I much prefer some of the Blanchard hole punches, but they are freakishly expensive, and I do not want to have 900 of them in my workshop. I will at some point because I'll need to. My client also asked for a running keeper as well as a stitched in keeper. Why? Because it's a very long belt, and obviously if the client wanted to use more of the belt, so he shrunk basically, to put it simply, he could quite easily tidy it up with a floating keeper, with a running keeper. So that's what I did. Obviously made of the same leather, the same lining leather. I always line my keepers just so that they don't have any possibility of damaging the tail of the belt. And then I stitched through the same holes that are already stitched through to hold that belt buckle in place, which you get double stitches for a couple of inches, but I think it looks as good, if not better, than a single run. It's also a little bit more time efficient, and when you're making a belt for a client like this, you need to be a little bit more time efficient. And there we go. That is the absolutely beautiful belt. Have a phenomenal week. Take care, guys.